Evaluation is often an integral part of the process of research, and especially student research that they present in the form of theses or research reports. So, what is good quality research evaluation or research thesis evaluation? In other words, what should evaluators do in order to justify their role as good evaluators, as effective evaluators, and to make the process of evaluation just and useful? So these are the questions that we will briefly respond to. First of all, what is thesis evaluation? Generally, research thesis evaluation is a process that basically is based on a systematic review and assessment of the thesis in order to look at its quality and its content, and in order to make the process of research effective and productive. Generally, thesis evaluation or research thesis evaluation is of several types. So generally the process involves an internal evaluation where the student's institution evaluates the thesis, and so generally this team of evaluators include the research supervisors and some other senior academics who are relevant to the field in which the student has developed the thesis or has conducted the research. Once they are satisfied with the quality of the thesis, then they will recommend it for sending it to an external expert or external panel of experts for external evaluation. So generally external evaluation could be from other departments in the institution or the university, or they could be from some other universities in or outside the country. In some cases, theses from developing countries are sent to academics in more developed countries. So that's the process of external evaluation. Once the external evaluation reports come and if they are satisfactory, the next phase is the oral defense, which is also a form of evaluation, where the researcher, the student researcher, has to defend his or her thesis. And so these are some of the main processes that are involved in the what of evaluation or the process of thesis evaluation. Now, why is it that there is need for good or effective thesis evaluation, or in other words, why are theses, student thesis, evaluated? So generally, there are several reasons because of which evaluation is an integral part of the thesis, student thesis process. The first one is that evaluation helps in the quality assurance of academic research, keeping in view certain standards in the field. Secondly, generally student researchers or junior researchers, they need the guidance and the supervision and the feedback of senior academics and researchers in order to develop as researchers, as academics, and as budding experts who can aid to the field in which they are working. Thirdly, research thesis evaluation is important because it helps in kind of giving right to the student to become eligible for academic qualifications and for degree award. So on the basis of thesis evaluation, towards the end of their research degrees, they are considered eligible once the evaluation process goes according to the requirements. Next, knowledge and academic advancement. Generally, thesis evaluation process is a kind of standard check, and as a result, it helps in quality knowledge, the development of quality knowledge and the advancement of knowledge in that particular area. Then the evaluation process, the evaluators actually serve as gatekeepers. So this is, you can say, a process of gatekeeping where the senior academics, the more established researchers and academics, will open the gates of the, you can say, the house of scholarship for the junior researchers based on their evaluation of their work. So this plays a role of gatekeeping. And lastly, the why is that institutional and academic integrity and ethical considerations also require that there should be an evaluation process of thesis, and so on the basis of that evaluation, there is a process of integrity, and there is a process, the process of research and academic pursuit gets a more ethical kind of nod from senior academics. So these are some of the whys of the process of evaluation, or the process of the quality of evaluation. Next, how? Now, how do we actually, or you can say, what is the general process of evaluation? So what happens? Quality evaluation is based on certain procedures and processes that we need to understand in order to understand and in order to recognize that quality thesis evaluation has happened. So first of all, the evaluators need to establish clear criteria, or the process of evaluation should be based on clear criteria for evaluation. So generally, some of the main things that the evaluators see or check during the process of evaluation is that they check the content of the thesis, they look at the quality of the structure of the thesis, they look at the presentation of the thesis or the research reports. They also look at the analysis, the level of analysis that has gone through during the process of data analysis, for example. They also look at the originality of the work, because scientific endeavor, especially research, is generally expected to add something original to the field of knowledge. Then they also look at the creativity and the criticality of the researchers, the student researchers. They also look at the ethical considerations that have been taken care of during the process of research, which includes like the validation process and the other important aspects of ethical considerations, the integrity of the researchers, the authenticity of the research process, and so on. So if that is there reflected in the report, that will mean quality research work. They also look at the clarity and coherence of the research thesis. So if the research thesis is clearly presented and there is a coherence in the report. And lastly, academic language and format. This is something that that should also be reflected in quality thesis, and so this is something that research evaluators look at. Then the process also, now how do actually the research evaluators process or go through the process of evaluation? So first of all, generally they go through, they have a preliminary review or reading, or you can say skimming of the whole thesis or the research report. So once they do that, then they get an initial idea related to that. Once they do that, they then go for intensive reading, a deeper analysis and evaluation of the thesis or the research report. And during this process, they take detailed notes related to the strengths and the possible areas for improvement or the weaknesses in the thesis. And generally during this process, it is important that the evaluators actually maintain their objectivity, their rationality, and their independence of judgment, which is extremely important. Next, there are certain things, certain considerations that research evaluators need to have when they are evaluating a research thesis or a research report. First of all, they need to have empathy as a senior academic. They know that the students are budding researchers, they are learning, so there will be certain things that might not be at that highest standard. So what they can do at this stage is, instead of just entirely rejecting the thesis or the research report, they can show sympathy by indicating areas for improvement and then giving them the chance and the time to work on that and to develop. So empathy is an important aspect of this process. And a related thing is constructive feedback. So the feedback should be constructive, it should be encouraging, it should help the junior researchers to develop their thesis further, to develop their thinking, and it should invite the junior researchers to critical questions, to think about how to improve and to polish themselves as beginning researchers. Then detailed documentation is also an important aspect of the process. It is important for the evaluators to be thorough and to be detailed in terms of documenting all of their comments and their observations of the thesis. Punctuality, which means the timely review of the thesis and the timely submission of the report, is very important, because mainly research students have invested a lot of money and time in this process, and so they deserve this punctuality on the part of the evaluator, so that they can get through the degree processes on time. And lastly, the process of evaluation require on the part of evaluators, of research evaluators, professors, to have academic dedication, so that they can actually read the theses or the research reports with passion, with motivation, with a positive framework of mind, to add to knowledge, to contribute to the professional and academic development of the young scholars. So academic dedication, motivation, and passion on the part of the thesis evaluators is extremely important in order to make the quality of thesis evaluation better, and in order to have evaluation reports that could be considered as quality evaluation reports that ultimately aids to the academic and research value of the work produced by junior researchers and student researchers.